In this episode, we set off for our biggest trip yet. Little did we know that some of us weren't going to make it very far. There are only a handful of ultra-remote four-wheel drive tracks in Australia, tracks that require proper planning and preparation that push man and machine to their absolute limits. The Canning Stock route in the Midwest region of WA is one of those tracks. It spans 1900 kilometres from Wiluna to Halls Creek and is arguably the most remote four-wheel drive track in the world. If you're a four-wheel drive enthusiast in Australia, chances are that this is one of those ones on your bucket list and you're prepared to spend 10 to 20 days driving and camping in isolation to witness the breathtaking countryside surrounding the track. Our plan was to start in Melbourne, punch some highway Ks over the Nullarbor to Cocklebiddy, drive through a remote four-wheel drive track to Esperance, head up to Wiluna and begin the canning. We aim to spend around 14 nights on the track, then we'd hook right to take the Tanami down to Alice, stop at Mount Eyre, cross the Simpson Desert to Birdsville and then shoot back home to Melbourne. Our group of 5 cars was aiming to complete this 10,000 kilometre journey in 4 weeks, and we had been planning it for over a year. If you've been following along on my channel, you'll know we've made all sorts of modifications to my custom shed-built FJ45, including the recently added canopy. We've done a bunch of preventative maintenance as well as an engine conversion from Nick's Patrol just to get it ready for this trip. Not to mention the countless hours everyone has put into their own vehicles which we didn't capture on camera. Before we get into this trip video, I'd just like to let everyone know that our website is now live with CAD services available, as well as a fresh range of merchandise. So things like this t-shirt, this hoodie that I'm wearing, and then we've got work shirts available, which you see me wearing all the time. And we've got a heap of other merchandise as well. There's only a few more weeks left on the pre-order now. So if you'd like to help the channel and see it grow, don't forget to get yourself some design and built merchandise. We really do appreciate your support.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Design and Build. This is episode 1 of a new series where we take our Nissan Patrol that we just did the 4.2 conversion on. We're heading across the Nullarbor into WA, exploring some of the beaches of Esperance before tackling the infamous Canning Stock route, the world's longest and most remote track. I'm about a week ahead of Richard. He's still at home building his canopy.
Let me just show you what happens when I turn my inverter on.
We're going to get a head start and get on the beach while he goes to work like a sucker.
Travelling with Nick was Devo and his 100 series and Chris and his Patrol. Brian and his 80 series were also going to join us on the trip, however he was currently at work like a sucker as well. We also had a couple of our dads living at large doing some fly in fly out legs for the interesting stuff as well. And you'll get to meet them later in the series.
Starting to get pretty barren out here now as we get closer to the Nullarbor. I think that's the Flinders Range in the distance. Cooling issues this morning. Turns out there wasn't any, got a bit hot, and so I hope it's not getting pushed out by a head gasket or something like that. That is under a lot of pressure. I don't think it's supposed to be like a balloon. 2 hours out of Port Augusta, and this is what my cooling system looks like at the moment. It was sweet all of yesterday. We did about 10 hours of driving yesterday. And today I can do about an hour or an hour and a half, then it gets warm. I don't know. Basically trying to not think that it's a head gasket on day 2 of a 5-week trip. We'll see. Like, look at that. Just bubbling out. Just keep topping it up. Just hope to God it's not a bloody head gasket. Not a good day. The coolant bubbling over is getting worse. It just keeps pushing it out of the coolant overflow. I think we're conceding defeat that it's probably going to be need to do a head gasket on it. So we've reached out to the Design and Build followers on Instagram. So hopefully one of you guys knows someone that can do a 4.2 head gasket. You can see it all here, like look at it. It's pushing all the coolant out. There's coolant all down here. This is all wet from pushing it out. Not much you can do now except collect a little bit of firewood, have a beer, and make some calls on Monday morning.
We put this story up on Instagram and shout out to anyone who responded. We got a ton of responses which helped us track down a couple of options.
Found a good spot to stay last night, and there's a couple of recommendations have come in on Instagram for people who might be able to drop everything and help us out with the head gasket into Port Augusta and see if we can find a legend.
Ready?
Is that steam or smoke?
Looked like a lot more light colours than previous.
All right, I think we're in luck. Dropped in to see AAA Parts and Mechanical, Mark, legend. He's found a head in Melbourne and we're gonna get it freighted up here. Hopefully it's Easter this weekend, so a 4-day week. With any luck, we'll be back on the road by Thursday. If you're in Port Augusta, full of parts. Awesome, thank you very much. A couple of days while this car gets fixed, so we're just gonna enjoy the Eyre Peninsula. Check out shit like the big galah. Which one's the big galah? It's a bit of a bachelor fridge you've got here, mate. At least you got your greens.
Me?
Did you like my joke? At least you've got your greens. Made it onto the beach. Get a load of this campsite. This is great. Just north of Streaky Bay, Eyre Peninsula. Flying it up, sunset's on, seafood's on. Head down, time to go on the tunes. Beach runs. There's a good one up the hill right there. Oh, classic cameras make it look like a little knoll, but actually that's a hill. I'll draw what it actually looks like. Like that. Oh, need a locker to get out of here. Probably wouldn't if it was Nissan. But you also probably wouldn't be here because the motor's blown up. This is our 3-day express trip through Eyre Peninsula while the TD42 gets a new head up in Port Augusta. We've got some sand dunes coming up. We've got a whole bunch of lovely campsites. Get a load of this. To go over it, not on it. Doesn't matter.
Problem.
His camera's still fine. You just go over it like a rat. If you're going to come out here, don't litter. That's why park rangers will kick us out of these places. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just don't do it. Just don't do that. Hey mate, to the guy that drank that beer, give yourself an uppercut. You're a flog. Don't litter. Devo, here we have a Toyota in its natural habitat. How many beers is this costing him, Jim? 1 beer per grain of sand removal. Anyway, let's see how he does. Look at that, it's lurking at the top of the hill. Hey mate. We could just put a line up here. It'll only cost you a 101. It's 3 o'clock, so we barely need to help him. We've got ages until we've got to be at campsite. So it's fun watching Devo struggle because he's usually the one pantsing us. Attempt number 2. Finally, we can go to camp.
Oh, why didn't you do that the first time?
Got a new morning trying to get out of campsite. G'day mate, how you going? Ooh, Coffin Bay oysters. Why I'm right here. $1 each, that's where you get Coffin Bay oysters, the best oysters, $1 each. On our 4-day little hiatus from getting the patrol fixed, we've ended up coming down the Eyre Peninsula, checked out Coffin Bay, and now we're in Lincoln National Park, just doing some airing down so that we can check out some dune system behind here. We are going that way over those dunes. How good's this? Look, there's the old track. Just disappears into the dune. And choose your own adventure.
Oh shit!
Cool. Cheers. Oh man, they are so good. We're here at Lincoln National Park and this is a 4-wheel drive mecca. If you haven't been to Eyre Peninsula and you're a 4-wheel drive guy, check this place out. Yes! So close! This is a place we call Brian's Dunny because it's a big old dunny roll as you run around here and then off the edge there. Here comes the gym to show you what I mean. Like, it's big.
Nissan are renowned for their engine building and reliability. The ZD30 nicknamed the Grenade and the TD42 nicknamed the Kettle say it all. I thought I dodged a bullet as my kettle was running great, never overheated, until it did. I was hoping for a quick head gasket swap. Nah. Then I hoped for just a new head gasket and a brand new head. Nope. Unfortunately, I was pressurizing the cooling system with a stuffed head gasket, a cracked head, and even a crack in the piston sleeve and the block behind it. How good are marketplace motors? That was the end of the TD42 and the end of the Nissan Patrol for this trip.
The pillage of the Patrol has begun.
Look at that!
This is everyone just pillaging as many parts as they can from the Patrol before she's... Keys has found himself some new Max tracks. Help yourself, anything you want. See you in the shed, spend most of your life.
Fortunately for us, we had a few spare seats available in the convoy. The plan was that some people were always going to be riding solo, so we had to jam 8 people into 4 cars, which just meant we were a little bit more loaded and wasn't the end of the world. However, little did we know, this is when our trip started going horribly wrong. We're sitting in the driveway at home about to tackle the most remote track in Australia if all things go to plan. So we're trying to do the canning stock route. I've spent the last 8 weeks in the shed building a canopy setup. We're on the road today for the first time. There's a lot of stuff that's untested, and I guess that's the last bit of design and built, we're testing it. So we're gonna live out of the thing for about 28 days. And it's a really special one for me. My old man's flying in and I get to spend some time with him. On the way out of Melbourne, stuck in traffic, so good. And classic Macedon, it's actually always raining. I'll be glad to see the back of this and when we're on the open road. Just across the border into South Australia. I'm about to meet up with a couple of the boys and get a pub feed, which is cool, and then hopefully we'll punch out a couple of hours after dinner and then set up camp for the night. So I guess I just want to say I've made a heap of changes to the car with the cooling, with the NVH, and today has been a real test of it all. The cooling, the car's staying way cooler, which is excellent news. The thermo is barely on at all, so changing to a different thermostat really helped. Shout out to Barrett World for that one. And then the other big one is the NVH. I've got new hood hinges from McKinnon's Cruisers. My hood was rattling around. Also masticed the front windscreen seal, and that really has helped the amount of air flow through the cabin, so really good change. And then the other one is the mirrors. I just swapped to like a reasonable set of mirrors and they don't pivot anymore, so I can see out the back. So compared to my Cape trip, I'm so much happier just driving the thing on a day-to-day. So yeah, let's keep on punching some Ks. I think we've done 700 so far today. And yeah, this thing hasn't missed a beat yet. I'd caught up with Brian and Nick's dad Ian at this point, and we were in convoy from here on out.
Pulled up at a random campsite overnight, got some sleep, and it was the first night in the rooftop. Really comfortable, better than the swag. Very lush. I think Dad's going to love it, so I'm going to test it out for him until he rolls in 5 days time. So I'm up in business class while all these plebs are down in the swags. Day 2 on the road. We covered over 900 Ks yesterday, and we are off to the start of the Nullarbor today, Seduna, I think.
B Ryan. Car's good?
Yeah, good to see you.
On tour.
We're on tour.
A very cool part about crossing the Nullarbor is there is a Nullarbor Links golf course. It's the longest golf course in the world. 18 holes that span all the way from Seduna all the way up to Kalgoorlie. So we are at hole number 1 at Seduna Golf Club. Hole number 1 and 2 are here, but then you basically hop your way across the Nullarbor playing each hole. We have a 1 club rule because we're doing some pretty tough forward driving. Don't want to bring a golf bag. We have 1 9-iron to share between us all, and it's competition. I don't know, loser buys a slab probably. The first stuff up is we didn't actually bring any balls. Yeah, we're on here. This poor bugger. Thank you very much. Hole number 1 of the Nullarbor Links at the Seduna Golf Course. Found some balls, and I'm pretty sure I read in the rules of golf somewhere that you're not allowed to play unless you're having a beer. So we are doing the playing by the rules.
Brian warming up.
Hey! Oh! That's going to show us up on this Nullarbor Links, I reckon. Hole 1, mate.
I am not a ball sports guy. I'm a bike rider, and I am out of my comfort zone.
Everyone judge his swing. Is that actually a swing? That was a safety. That was a warm-up, wasn't it? Oh, Jesus. Tell me that wasn't. Oh, this is, you can't be serious. You cannot be serious. Just watch the ball. Yeah! Jesus Christ, it's going to be a long day. Oh, no. I don't think I've got enough zoom to get that one. I feel like if anyone's got any tips for Richard's golf game, let him know because it doesn't look great. He like runs up to it. It's like a Happy Gilmore every shot. Here's a little instructional video on how not to play golf. So what do they normally do here? Like 2 hours later.
I lost count after 7.
That's pretty good for a par 5. Anyway, we can't film them all. The video will be 2 hours long. Putting with a 9-9. Classic. 100.
Just concluded that golf game. Obviously, things didn't go to plan on my end. I'm going to get better over the Nullarbor. I'll promise you that. Alright, we're just about to hit the dirt for the first time in 2000 Ks, so we're airing down. Night 2 on the trip, and this is the first time using the induction cooktop. I fully intend to road test this 12-volt system. The design and build setup is getting tested tonight. Alright, we are cooking with induction. We're at Palmer Stations. We've got to do 5 tonight, and we're just chewing through battery, but that's alright. Cooking with electricity. It actually looks really good.
Look at that. You wouldn't know if you're at the pub or not. I mean, it's 10:30. They're not cooking at the pub anymore, but we are.
It was the induction.
Okay, so that's it. Palmer's for 5, and we used 70 amp hours, which is pretty cool, out of the 220 I have. Here we go, Chris.
Oh, mate. Thank you, sir.
Pre-order your merch, everyone. I reckon when we get home from this trip, we're going to do a big run. How's this? We got one there.
That's right.
Ooh, and the back.
That's
one
right.
there.
And the Navy's
One here as well. Yeah, Navy's really good.
Actually.
Get your merch, everyone. Third day on tour today. Had the first night at camp. We're just in a spot near Ceduna, like 60 Ks from Ceduna, and we're about to hit the beaches for the first time. So we've been really commuting and doing long days from now. Now last night I got to test out my full 12-volt setup for the first time, and it worked. So I am just over the moon. There's been so many hours that have gone into the design and the build of it all. Not just a 12-volt, like the whole canopy setup. And I've just been in the shed working like a dog for the last 3 months or so. Yeah, I'm just so over the moon to see it all work. Let's get into this beach run. Beach run, and the Barra is in its element, staying really cool actually. So we're you know, on that Cape trip I was seeing coolant temps at like 110 or something like that, and today we're at 96, and the oil coolers are working beautifully as well. So it's just yeah, honestly really good. Listen to that turbo spool up, 14-pounder boost. Woo-hoo-hoo! Brekkie morning 2 after our little beach run. Induction, just kicking the goals. What do you call it, Devo?
One eye. just finished up the beach run and we cooked breakfast on the induction. The question is, can it do dinner and breakfast for 6? And the answer is, it's actually quite marginal. So for 2 people, I'm sure it would be absolutely fine for a night or even 2. And then, you know, for 6, I mean, yeah, you really are using the induction to the full limits.
On the next episode of our canning odyssey, we get ourselves into a spot of bother.
Yeah, unhook the winch.
And it happens seemingly more than once. We also continue our journey deep into wild Western Australia. If you'd like to see more of the trip, make sure you hit subscribe to see future episodes coming up on the channel.